Hi there, guys. Welcome. This is the next installment of Stu Speaks With, where we'll be interviewing semi-famous people, very famous people, semi-talented people, and just generally nice people. And one of those nice people is the man I have next to me, Mr. Thomas Selmer-Olsen.
I'm not sure if I fit into any of those categories, but okay.
No, you do. You do, I promise. Fantastic guitar player, musician. Thank you for being with us tonight. It's really good to have you here.
Well, Stu, anytime.
Cool. Let's kick off by talking a little bit about your musical upbringing. Do you come from a musical family?
Oh, you've caught me off guard. Yes, to some extent. Musical family on both mother and father's side, and my dad still plays guitar. In fact, he met you recently, I believe.
Yes.
He had good things to say.
Okay.
So I think that's one of those things that anyone who has exposure to grandparents playing, parents playing, in our household it was the guitar and piano. It's exciting when one's just lying there in the corner and no one really minds if you decide that you want to grab something, although in my case I took what was meant to be my mom's guitar. She always wanted to learn. I ended up playing it instead.
Okay. Well, you're very lucky. I mean, I never had a musical family, and I think it shows. So that's brilliant. Yeah. Okay. And music-wise, music that you grew up listening to, that's kind of formed you the musician that you are today.
Oh man. So I think that for a lot of people, included, the Beatles made me want to write songs. The Rolling Stones, specifically Jumping Jack Flash, made me want to play guitar. I mean, I think there's pictures somewhere of me playing a tennis racket on the fireplace to Jumping Jack Flash.
Yeah.
But the thing that made me want to really play the electric guitar and solo was Eric Clapton, Layla. Just one of those songs that...
The electric version.
Oh man, I started playing when I was 8 years old. I mean, and that's almost 30 years ago now. So yes, it predates the acoustic version, and that opening sequence, it just, hairs stand up on your arm, and that was the moment that I really wanted to play the guitar, and all I wanted to do was to make that sound.
Yeah. Cool. And then
not awkward at all, going meow.
And then when was your first sort of real band? When did you?
Okay.
And tell us about your a couple of your early projects.
The first band ended up being a reasonably successful one, at least as far as radio play and exposure went. It was a punk band called Candyfly, who occasionally some of the stuff pops out in the ether. That was playlisted on 5FM when small, snotty 17-year-olds could still be playlisted on 5FM. We played on the TDK radio sessions as they were at the time, which, if I'd had any idea how many people we were playing to, I would have been a lot more terrified. From there, moving into other sort of rock projects and staying with bands up until I started doing session work. And session work came along, I think, 2006, maybe 2007.
Let me interrupt you quickly. There's one band
I've left out the Meritrix.
Meritrix.
So
I don't know if you guys have heard of Meritrix, but they were absolutely incredible. I used to go watch them at Roxy's, I think.
Oh gosh,
and I was blown away by you guys.
It was a very special moment in time with Emil Hugenot, who's now he goes with the tag name Burr. He was probably South Africa's finest Ableton producer. In fact, he's just been in a special for CNN doing sample packs in Kenya. So he's still amazing, and we're still good mates. Adam Wolfart, a mutual friend of ours, who is probably one of the world's best gurus on the Les Paul and the maker of the very brilliant Wolfart amps. Greg Russell, who went on to Pestroy. Jeff
Strudel was in there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, really as I say, a special moment in time. And it's sort of one of those things which I still am amazed it happened at all. Wish it could have happened for longer, but as is often the case with these sort of bursts of life energy, however you want to look at them, they are meant to be a little incendiary. But yeah, I mean that's how sort of from there, and I thought about this a bit knowing you and I were going to chat. There'd been a common thread that came through about one event moving to the other, and I think that's where the session thing came in, where at the time I was teaching with Emil of Meritrix. Also, we were both teachers at St. Stephen's College, and I got a call from a student of all things who said, no, he's putting together some great big do at Emperor's Palace. He's got a band of session players, but the guitarist has had to pull out for some reason. Now, what I didn't know at the time was that this band was Bruce Wallace on kit, David Klassen on percussion, Danny Lalouette on bass, Jakun Elmaton on keys, and I was going to be playing rhythm guitar to Moritz Lotz. When I realized, and I'd met some of these guys through music stores and all.
The scariest band.
I didn't sleep before the first rehearsal, and it was the most rude awakening, because the way these guys do it is, you arrive, everyone hands you your charts, and one of those moments you go, man, I sure wish I'd never learned how to read music. So they put your charts on there, they play the song once through, and while I'm the newbie, so I'm busy just watching what everyone else is doing, not knowing what I should be doing. They're all furiously making notes, like, oh, this bit, make it louder, and this bit, do that. And then that time of the song playing through is all the chants you had. Then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and these guys would have it perfect by the second take through. I'm here going, God, I'm drowning, and how do I keep up? And it was the most brilliant trial by fire week.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Came purely out of someone having heard me play and said, well, hey, go for it. At the time I'd say I barely survived, and maybe I wouldn't have picked me, but somehow I ended up getting there.
That's the biggest deep end ever.
And that led to the position in the Louise Carver band, which led to recording with Theo Kraus. It led to us playing at the 46664 concert series, where it was, getting to share a stage with Peter Gabriel, with Live, with the Goo Goo Dolls.
Brian May.
I didn't get to share with Brian May that year. Yes, I know. I could have sort of followed Tony Levine around like the sort of weird freak, going, King Crimson, and it also led to performances with Creasan, where we got to play for sort of this great big gig at the Kingsmead Stadium in Durban. One where I got just told, bring your acoustic guitar, it's some corporate do. And God, we arrive and sort of these guys pick us up. We don't even know where we're playing. We're just told it's some government thing. And we start getting closer, and I go, oh gosh, I know where we are. Maybe it's at one of the function rooms. Yeah. And we just walk in, it's this great big sort of SA India collaboration day, and it's just people. And we hadn't even rehearsed. It was another, hanging on for dear life in the hope that you make it out on the other side okay. And at the time, it was the then President Thabo Mbeki. So hopefully he didn't go, man, that guy on guitar is under-rehearsed.
Yeah. No, that doesn't.
So that, it's just one of those things that one moment can lead to a lot of other things.
And then that kind of same time frame as you then got asked to join the Jesse Clegg band?
Yes.
And you went off to Canada to record the album?
Very much so, very much so. So that actually happened via my friend and mentor Andy Innes, who is the music director for Johnny Clegg's band, and his long-standing lead guitarist, and who's been a great friend to me and a great mentor over the years. And yeah, that led to the Jessie thing. Oddly enough, I was the piano player for my first gig with Jessie. I mean, that was at the...
I'm sorry. Must have been awful.
I don't know. If you've heard me play piano, you'd say it definitely was. Somehow I got hired for a while doing piano gigs, and I still don't get it. But that led to Jessie and recording with David Bottrell. It led to shows in England. It led to the New Music Seminar in New York. And I mean, I learned, playing with Jessie was amazing. I mean, I learned a lot from him. One of the most gifted songwriters.
Yeah, wonderful songwriter, absolutely.
It was a real masterclass. So I'm still very grateful for that time.
Yeah, nice.
And that's actually how I got involved with martial music is through that's where we got in touch. I mean, and you guys were lifesavers to us on a nationwide tour. I mean, it's been one of the things that you've done for me time and time again. I think when it's been, no matter where we are, I mean, we've had you bailing us out in Cape Town, we've had you bailing us out in Durban. It's been above and beyond, so thank you.
No, cool. Okay, so now moving on from Jessie, you formed your own sort of blues rock trio, and then at the same time, tell us how you joined Mango Groove.
Oh, hell's teeth, Mango Groove, yes, which is the past 5 years of my life, and the most...
Already 5 years?
5.5 now.
Wow, okay.
So I joined Mango before I got married, so it's 5.5 now. But the most fun 12 people can have without getting arrested. Wait, that sounded better in my head. So Mango, that was crazy. I mean, I actually got a call once again. This happened because of Andy Innes.
Nice guy.
I was sitting at home on a Saturday morning, and Andy messages me saying, "Hey, this you're going to get a call from John Layden from Mango Groove. Just heads up." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Answer the phone, and John says, "Hi, our guitarist has got food poisoning. Can you learn a full set by this afternoon?"
What?
And
wow. Okay.
I mean,
and you said yes.
Well, Mango is my favorite band in the world. I'm not actually kidding here.
Okay.
My first ever rock concert I was watching them at the Sun City Super Bowl in 1991.
Okay.
I mean, this was them with Prophets of the City as the opener. So it was my first exposure to hip hop. It was my first mixed race concert. It was this huge impact on my life where I thought, like, wow, this is like the South African Beatles. It was. I mean, this is not just because of sort of the Dance Some More opener and Twist and Shout having the same thing. It was.
Yeah.
So I knew most of the songs. If you
they were just there in your head. Yeah.
So it was a matter of go through the geographies, get the, I ran through with John a bit beforehand, sort of, and one of the strict things they said, no, you can't have sheet music on stage. So I mean, what I usually do is, and I mean this came out ages ago. Whenever I have to learn something, I transcribe it, because if I've charted it out, I remember it.
Yeah.
I seldom go back to the charts. I've got a bookcase in my music room of just charts I've written out once to get them in my head. So I transcribed everything, and they said, no, you can't have a music stand on stage. So I just taped everything to the floor around me, sort of,
big semicircle.
Yeah, this big semicircle.
Song 1 to 12.
Going like, okay, this is where, and remember, stop here, and this part, the guitar's on its own, so don't screw that up.
Yeah.
And got through that one, and I got asked back, and for a while, Michael Bester and I were sort of sharing the duty. So I was depping for him when he couldn't make it, which led to some very cool gigs. And after a little bit of time, then I got to step into the main guitar slot,
Nice.
which has been brilliant. I mean, it's taken us to some amazing concerts. We've met a lot of amazing people, and Mango's mind-bogglingly wonderful to play in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an 11-piece band.
Yeah, it's cool.
I mean, they are so. There's no substitute for that sound. Where it's, I mean, a proper brass section is.
Yeah, it's such a vibe on stage.
And the funny thing is, there's still this sense of spontaneity. So, yes, because the songs are known songs, so you have to play true to the original recording. But, and I don't know how this happens, because everyone is meant to stick to their part, but there's still this sense of improvisation, and there's still this spontaneity and chaos and mango madness, or however you want to put it, that happens every show, and it's I think it's what's kept it fresh.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. I mean, I saw them recently, and it's just an amazing live act.
The fact that Claire sings her backside off is where it all starts. I mean, that's and you've got Beulah Hashe, who's one of the original members, who's still on backing vocals. I mean, and Beulah gives everything she's got, no matter how sick she is at a gig. She can barely be able to stand backstage. She's so ill. I've seen her with head colds, flu, whatever, and she walks on that stage and just whoop.
Yeah.
And that's another
cool
thing that you learn from people is there's
ultimate professional.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Mango thing's also been a weird one gear-wise.
Well, let's talk a bit about your gear.
Oh, gear.
Thomas is a bit of a Marshall nut. He's a bit of a PRS nut. And he's a bit of a Gibson nut. And all sorts of nuttiness going on. And by the way, Thomas makes his own valve amps. He's a genius. You are. I think this is one of the few people who actually knows more about gear than me. Like, you're a gear nut. You are a total freak.
My wife has sort of accepted her helplessness position. It's like Stockholm syndrome of gear. She started buying me stuff now just in a hope that maybe if she joins in. I mean.
So tell us a bit about your sort of favorite amp setup, and tell us a little bit about your guitars as well.
So it varies from gig to gig. So when it's the session thing, we're reliant on backline. The ubiquitous Fender Hot Rod series, thank God for them. These days you can generally bank on having one of those. So for Mango, it's either Hot Rod, or I actually prefer the 65 reissue series. So my ideal one is a deluxe, but generally I get a twin. So for Mango, Fender's the right thing. It's that sound. But oddly enough, as you mentioned, my best is Marshall. I mean, some of the best shows I've had has been with a backline DSL. What I'm using at home, I mean, I've got a proper Plexi 69 Super Bass. I've got a 75 JMP Super Lead. I had a 68 Plexi 50 watter, which I traded to Fleurs. On a very nice Gibson R7, which is the reason my PRS doesn't see as much stage time as it used to. I mean, and that's, but with, and that's actually been finding its way into the Mango thing. I mean, I mentioned the Eric Clapton thing. I finally got the dream pewter-colored Clapton Strat that I've wanted since I was 8 years old, and saw the Clapton live at the Royal Albert Hall footage.
Yeah.
And that guitar has been absolutely brilliant. I mean, I used that on the Carlos Santana tour with Mango, where that was interesting, when you're getting...
You sounded better than Carlos at that gig, by the way.
No. It's... Yeah, that was also great. I mean, but we had to just use backline. So you arrive there and he's got Dumble original Mesa, and I'm going, oh, here's my nice.
I touched his Dumble. It was wonderful.
I've got a photo of his tumble. I tried to take his settings, but I didn't sound right through them. It's because my guitar's not covered in gold leaf. But yeah, I mean, the biggest problem I think is it's a flight gig sort of band. So I can bring a guitar, a wireless unit, and a handful of pedals, and we're solely reliant on the backline. And I think this comes back to when you're trying to build something to recreate a sound. I mean, we live in a great time of pedals the size of your finger or great multi-effects. I mean, for me, it's been the Line 6 M series have been my staple for the past few years.
You're a big Line 6 fan, huh?
Oh, I'm drooling over the HX.
The new HX and the Stomp,
that's
great.
That I'm very excited for. But at the same time, my M9 has gone to, I mentioned Canada, England. It's gone to New York. It's gone around South Africa many, many times. It's crossed border patrol into Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, Swaziland, Lesotho, and survived the most ridiculously bumpy roads. And that thing's been, I'd say the only problem with it is that it works and it refuses to die. So, that's, and it seems to survive the scrutiny of every sort of airline baggage handler who sort of takes it out going, oh, what is this? Is it a bomb? Why has it got buttons?
Knocking it and tapping.
It's just like throwing the thing down afterwards. You're like, yeah, it's the only one I've got. I don't have a backup. So yeah, I mean, whilst as much as I love the old analog stuff, I when I'm feeling particularly obsessive, I'll go down the recording rabbit hole and blindfold tests, and there's days when I can't tell the difference between my Black Label Boss CE2 and the Line 6. I can't. And especially in the context of an 11-piece band, it sounds great. When you have Santana's guitar tech coming up and, hey man, that's a really great sounding twin you got there. What pedals are you using? And you're going, just do your thing. It's like, stink face, But they do the job. They're the tools that allow us to do what we do.
And tell us a little bit about plans for the future in terms of, tell us a little bit about, in closing, about your little trio.
Oh man, okay, the trio.
Any album plans?
Yes. So the trio, it's myself, Cesare Casarino, the Mighty Cheese. And
Big Cheese.
And Keith Marcheni, who we play together in Mango Groove, so that's instant.
Wonderful drummer,
if I could clone him, I would. And we've got a great trio together. We just finished recording with Joe Arthur, which was also amazing. I mean, it's considering the projects he's worked on, the fact that he's got the little Grammy on the wall, that you're like, oh, okay, we'll listen to what he's got to say. He was incredible. So we've just finished mastering. We're finalizing artwork, so that should be something we can get out into the world. Cool.
Has it got a name yet, the project?
The band is called Burn the Mountain.
Burn the Mountain.
Burn the Mountain.
Any links or things that people can go and check out?
This is the problem. I know how to do a soldering iron, but not so much social media. That's awkward.
But, we hope that...
Stu,
do some proper social media on this band.
Well,
get it out there. I'll be punting it when it's out, because I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I think it's pretty good.
And guys, go check him with Mango Groove. He's pretty good. And thank you for being with us. We're out of time.
Thank you.
I could talk all night, but we have to.
Stu, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Cool. That's all for now, guys. Thank you, and ciao for now.